Welcome back to another AFL Fantasy video on the channel, and in this video I'll be going over my post-Marsh series team, and I'll be discussing the players that I've selected and why I've selected them. Obviously the rookies are going to come down to Thursday night, but the rookies that I have selected in this team are the ones that are most likely to play and the ones with the better scoring ability. So definitely take those with a pinch of salt, but they could be the guys that are named round one. And if you do enjoy the video, please consider subscribing and liking the video, and I'll be producing content round by round every week of my team. I'll be doing a review every round of my team throughout the 2020 season. So subscribe if you don't want to miss that. I'll be going through my trades, captain options for the next round, things like that. So without further ado, we'll get into the video and we'll go through my defense first up. So first up, D1 James Sicily, a very debatable option, but he's been in my team for most of the preseason, and I think he's got that rebounding off that distributing rebounding role of halfback for the Hawks this year, highlighted by 109 in the last game in the Marsh series. Ben McAvoy in the backline there too helps him, so I think he's going to be back into the top 6 defenders this year. Now, Dan Houston and Doherty, don't really have to speak about them too much. Everyone has them there. They just pick themselves, those two, really. Jeremy Howe, this is a debatable one. You've probably been looking at that for the last 30 seconds thinking what I'm doing there. But look, Jeremy Howe turned up in the last 2 finals games for Collingwood last year. He also turned up in the last Marsh series game as well. So I think he's primed to go back to that 82 plus average that he's done. He's the previous 3 years to last year. I'm not sure what happened last year, but he went 82, 90, and 82, I think, or 89. So 82, 89, and 82, I think, the previous 3 years before last year where he went to that 69. So in the Marsh series game, Majden, I think that's how you say his name, and Darcy Moore and Jordan Roughhead were matching up on the big key forwards, which allowed Howe to play that Sicily type role across halfback. So that's why I've got Howe there. I'm not 100% sold on him yet, but he's staying there for now. Dylan Robertson, another one I don't really have to talk about. He's sort of picked himself, scored 70 from, I forget how much time ground he had in that Marsh game, but he looked very good and he was tearing up the practice matches as well, so there's nothing wrong with him. Hopefully he can string together a full season this year and get back to that scoring that we know he can do. And then the rookies, Starcevic, I heard Brisbane fans really liked his game. I didn't actually get to see much of that game, so I didn't really get to see him play, but I saw he had some CBAs. Apparently played off half forward and on the wing a bit as well, so that's a good, decent role if he gets that role in the real season. So he'll be one that I'm definitely looking at. And then Williams and Toby Watson are 2 guys that are likely to play as well. So we'll move on to the midfield. Jack Macrae and Josh Dunkley, they have not moved all preseason. They're staying there for me. I don't care that their scores weren't great in the last Marsh series. That hopefully means that people will start jumping off them. There's nothing wrong with them. Their roles are there. They'll just be, in cruise control. Jack Macrae, I know, definitely faded out a lot in that probably last half. But look, there's nothing wrong with those two. They're going to be top midfielders this year, and don't shy away from getting them if you worry about their Marsh series scoring. Stephen Coniglio, he's the most obvious pick, I think, in the midfield. He's scored a 149. Yes, he's going to have some forward time. He's going to get forward DPP in round 6. He's a value option, priced at 103. I think he's going 110. Therefore, he's a value, and he'll be a top 8 or top 6 forward. Also a top 8 mid. So he'll have forward DPP by the time you need to fully upgrade your team anyway, so he'll be in the forward line by the season's end. Tom Mitchell, another lock, don't have to go over him. Now, I have got four mid-rookies in the midfield at the moment. That's because all the mid-rookies look the safest and the best scorers. So, Matty Rao, lock. Tom Green's obviously depending on selection. But he's got a very good role, and they seem to like him in the middle there. And he looks very good. He looks up to AFL standard already, so that's really good signs. Hopefully he can string some games. We know Giants' job security for rookies is not very good, so he's a one to watch. Devon Robertson is one that is impressed. He was impressive as well, and I think if he is named round 1, I think you got to lock him in. His numbers in the juniors were exceptional, and I think he was one of the leading disposals, if not the leading disposal getter. So in the under 18. So Marlon Pickett there as well, another one just a lock. And the two 170Ks on the bench, I'm not 100% convinced that these guys will get games. Tyler Brown, I think, will get a game. Ned McHenry, I'm not so sure. So with the rookie situation in the midfield that I've got here, I think if Sarong and Noah Anderson get games, it's going to depend out of Sarong, Anderson, Devon Robertson, and Tom Green for me. Those four, if they all get games, then I'm just going to have to pick certain ones. I'm going to have to try and find the cash for those. But look, it's all going to come down to Thursday night, and I'll do another team reveal or final team reveal before lockout as well. So moving on to the rucks, Brody Grundy and Sam Jacobs. Now, Grundy, I've seen a lot of people going against him. He only scored a 70 odd. He's in cruise control. There's going to be nothing wrong with him come the start of the season. He's playing Tim English in the first round of the season, so I think he's going to go 120 plus. Obviously, he hasn't turned up in round one, I don't think, ever, so that's a bit of a concern, but he's had the C on him all preseason, and I don't think that'll change unless Doherty tears it up as my VC loophole at the moment. Actually, I don't actually think I'll have a VC loophole with Naismith there at R3. So Sam Jacobs at my R2 spot, he's just so much value, 109. I don't think he'll be scoring hundreds every week. I think you can expect that mid-80s average for Sam Jacobs this year, which is about 16 points upside. So I think he's a great pick. I think he's pretty much you wouldn't say must-have. I don't think Jacobs is a must-have, but he's definitely one to consider. He was playing as like a midfield. He's playing sort of like Brody Grundy. He's running around. He was linking up with the midfielders and that sort of thing. And Toby Green actually said in his interview after the game that they'll be using Jacobs as a extra midfielder, and said that Shane Mumford was more that bash and crash, but Sam Jacobs is capable of being an extra midfielder around the ground. So that's very good signs, and hopefully Jacobs can keep up that sort of scoring. Sam Naismith on the bench at R3, paying up for my R3. I'm not sure if I'll do this yet, but Naismith looks like a very good cash cow. Looks like he's going to make a lot of money. I think he will score around the 70 mark. He'll ruck duel with Sinclair, but he is the number one ruckman, so 90% of his game, about thereabouts, will be in the ruck, and he might have a couple stints forward, but mostly on the bench. Anyway, he'll get around 60 to 70% game time, I think, probably more towards 70%. So I think, yeah, he's a decent cash cow option. Into the forward line now, we've got Lockie Whitfield at F1. Obvious pick, and I think most people should start, or everyone pretty much should start with Lockie Whitfield there. I've seen some people go with different strategies of, going mid prices there, but you need Lockie Whitfield in your team. At some point you're going to have to get him in, and I think you just might as well start him. He's got not much upside, so he's not one of those picks that's going to have upside. I think him and Grundy are the two picks in my side that don't have upside, but the rest I think all have potential points to gain. Devon Smith, he impressed me again. He didn't impress me in the first Marsh game, but in the second one we got some more clarity on what his role is, and his tackling's just what made him a top 6 forward in 2018. And he's got that tackling pressure back up again, and he's playing through the midfield a bit, high half forward as well, pushing up to the stoppages and pushing up the ground. So he's a decent pick, and I think he can push up to that 105 mark as well this year. So there's a little bit of upside in him as well, and you're going to have him in your team at some point. Hugh Greenwood was pretty disappointing in the Marsh series, the latest Marsh series, only scored 66, but look, he's fine. He's playing in that mid-role, heaps of centre bounces. I think there was talk he was starting deep forward and off half forward a little bit as well, but I saw someone say that, he's in the games that Gold Coast don't need him in the midfield with his contested ball ability or ball winning ability, they're going to rest him forward and that sort of thing. They're not going to need him in the midfield. So there's nothing to worry about there. Pick Hugh Greenwood if you want. Yeah. Andrew Brayshaw, how good was this, man? He was just super impressive through the Marsh games that he played. And look, he pretty much picks himself now, doesn't he? I had a lot of doubt through the preseason with him, but he was in my team for most of the preseason. So yeah, I think he picks himself now. Brett Bewley is one that I'm not 100% sold on yet, but he looks value. He's going to have that wing role now with Akers out for the first few games as well, so his wing role is not in any sort of jeopardy. But I would say I would be concerned when Akers comes back that he doesn't keep that mid role. But look, I think he can go 70, and he's priced at 49, I believe. Yep, 49. So that's 21 points of value if he goes at 70. So I think, yeah, I think he's great value, and he's another decent low mid-priced forward, or low end of the mid-priced forwards options. Better, much better than Chase Jones and Aidan Bonner, who both looked pretty poor in the last game. And then the rookies, Connor Buderick is apparently got a game, and then I've got Jared Brender in the utility position there, but I'll get to that. So Connor Buderick and Curtis Taylor there, also Isaac Rankin. So Buderick and Rankin, there's no official word from Gold Coast, but apparently they're playing round one. I'm not sure if that's it hasn't been said officially yet, but there's a word going around that Isaac Rankin and Buderick will play round one. Same with Anderson and Rao. So Curtis Taylor as well, he's locked himself in for round one, I believe, with that performance. So those rookies are, fairly safe on the bench there, and obviously Buderick on the field. So Jared Brander in the utility at the moment. All these rookies I've been shuffling them around the last however long. So these rookies will change throughout until Thursday night, and I'll put out a video just showing what rookies I've gone with on Thursday night. So that's the team. If you did enjoy, please subscribe, please like the video, and I will be providing content all throughout the 2020 season, including roundly reviews and wrap-ups, along with my trade targets, captain options, or along with my trades that I will be doing throughout the season. So you'll get to see a round-by-round update of my team. So yeah, once again, thanks for watching, and I hopefully will see you in the next video. Cheers.